Managing in a remote workplace is a little bit tricky. And part of that is because we're missing so many nonverbal cues. It's interesting. One of the most important functions of nonverbals has to do with the fact that they provide us a way to communicate things that we don't feel comfortable using our words to communicate. For instance, let me give you an example. I was at a boys' basketball game the other night, and whenever a ref would make a call, one of the basketball players would be like, well, they do all these things to show like that is not fair, that's not right. But they couldn't say that. They couldn't use their words to say that they thought that the umpire made a really bad choice. Well, you know what? There's a lot of that happens in the workplace as well. When we come up with a new idea, when we say something, when we ask people to do certain kinds of things, people are going to give us some feedback. But most of the time, it's not going to be feedback using words. We have lived our entire lives providing that kind of feedback, the kinds of things that socially is not really acceptable to just like charge right in there. We have learned to use our nonverbals to communicate that kind of information. Well, now all of a sudden, in a Zoom situation, you can't read those kinds of nonverbals. You're not getting that information, and that information can be really important. So, what are the answers? Well, you got to check in. You have to get feedback. You can't rely on people to give their feedback using their faces because it just doesn't work that online. So you have to get good at being intentional about seeking out feedback, asking questions, and getting people to verbalize some of the things that they would usually use their face or their expressions to communicate. Managing online is not easy, but if we are intentional about making up for the lost nonverbals, if we check in and we communicate with the people that we work with, we can be so much more successful in the remote workplace.